Since middle school, I kept some form of planner with me to stay organized with all my assignments, projects, and exams. Now, as an adult, I still use one for organizing tasks, appointments, and events. These planners would typically span 6 months to a year, but once the year was over, I would either set up a brand new planner or purchase a brand new one for the new year. Throughout this time, I found that every now and then I'd run into the issue of trying to remember the anniversary of something that happened the previous year or several years ago. And my solution to this was to just grab the corresponding planner and flip through it to find the date I was looking for. Once I found it, I would mark the anniversary in my current planner and assume the issue was over until the following year. Then the cycle would just repeat itself to always refer back to a previous planner. It wasn't until I watched a video on the Kokyo Jibun Techo First Kit Standard did this idea finally occur to me. In case you're unfamiliar, the Jibun Techo is an annual planner, but the First Kit Standard not only includes the planner, but an additional booklet for ideas or notes, as well as something called a life booklet. The relevant part being their life booklet, which allows you to document major events in your life that you can use year after year. This was absolutely the solution to my problem. However, I started thinking about other things that I should get better about tracking, such as home upgrades, vehicle maintenance, adulting stuff. I've tried doing this in the past when I used to bullet journal, but these only spanned 6 months at the time. And once those 6 months were over, I couldn't be bothered to keep coming back to this notebook to keep it updated. And so I present my DIY life book. I purchased this A6 hardcover Leuchtturm 1917 dotted journal on a whim last year because I thought it was so cute, but I had absolutely no idea what to do with it. But now I finally found the perfect use for it, and I'm so excited to share this with you. Before I ramble more about it, let me go ahead and give you a tour. I've started filling out the table of contents for a quick reference, but I've also added these silly little cat tabs to easily flip to each section. I got these tabs as a gift a long time ago, so unfortunately I'm not sure where they came from, but you can use any tabs or sticky notes that you may have. Now this first section is to jot down important dates like I mentioned in the beginning. Over time, I can come back and add to this list as other events occur. So all that I've done in terms of setup was just write the title at the top, wrote each of the months with a gel pen, and then I just went ahead and highlighted them just to add a little bit of visual interest. You definitely don't have to do that. All you really need is some sort of writing utensil to just write everything down. And so I just wrote down each of the months, and below that then I wrote down the birthdays or events that happened during that month along with the day. And if there are any anniversaries that I want to remember, then I went ahead and wrote down the corresponding year that it happened as well. And then I left the next spread blank in case I need to expand on it in the future. The next section is for home improvement. So I went ahead and backfilled some of the information since we bought our house just to keep track of over the years. Now again, for this spread, I wrote out the title, I included a date in which the service occurred, the contractor information if we did have a contractor come, the service description, as well as an amount. And then I just left 20 pages in between this and the next section to expand on over time. The next part is for vehicle maintenance, and so very similar to the home improvement one, I just have a date that the service was done, the location of the shop that we took the vehicle to, the service description, and then the amount. Another 20 pages in between, and then an area for my cats, Homer and Dion, to keep track of their appointments and medications. So once again, I have the date, the name of the cats, and then I would just go in and mark which cat the service was done for, the description of the service, and then once again the amount. And down here, I've just been keeping track of the medications that they took, when they started it, when it ended, and then what the medication was. And another 20 pages in between that. Then I have a section to keep track of my appointments and any past surgeries. So I've included the date and time, however, I've only written the date so far, the location, so like the hospital that I ended up going to or the clinic, I also added a section for my mood, however I haven't filled that in yet just because all of this was backlogging, but I am thinking I will probably use that moving forward. The description of the service or the appointment, as well as an amount. And then another 20 pages later, I wanted to include a section for quotes and lyrics. So kind of like an area for commonplacing, I left quite a few pages in between this and the next part of the book since I'd imagine I'll have more to add to this over time. So I have 50 pages in between these two sections, and I probably should have had this one right after my appointments instead, but oh well. This area is for my medications, so I just wrote the name of the medication when I started it, when I ended it, just kind of like a description about it, and then any additional notes that I would like to add over time. And then 20 pages later, I have a section for things to check out. And so far, I only have a couple of books, but this was something that I just thought of recently, and so I wanted to go ahead and add it. But I would imagine that I will expand on this more in the coming years. And finally, I have a section for commonly misspelled words. So far I just have a list of words that I find myself struggling to remember how to write properly. And then in the back pocket here, this is where I like to keep the rest of the cat stickers along with the stickers that came with the journal itself, just in case I want to add more sections later. But yeah, that is it for my setup so far. I thought that this was the perfect use for this journal since it's very small and compact, because ideally I'd like to bring this with me when I'm on the go for quick reference. Because it's a hardcover, it should be pretty durable and be able to be used for several years to come. The elastic closure provides more security as well and won't easily sprawl out in public, so I expect to have this and be able to use this for many years to come. I also expect it to replace my phone in some ways. For instance, if I'm waiting somewhere, I'd like to flip to my quotes and lyrics section, read and reflect on those or add any new ones that I may have thought of. As well as the commonly misspelled words section. I find that it's most often while I'm journaling when I'm questioning my spelling and go to look it up on my phone only to get distracted by a notification and completely forget why I even picked up my phone in the first place. So I'm hoping that having all of these written back here, then I can just easily open up my book and try and find the word that I am looking for. And if it's not already in here, then hopefully I will be able to look it up on my phone, jot it down here, and then just prevent any need to pick up my phone in the future. So that's about it for my life book. I just wanted to share this as it was definitely something I was needing for a long time, but never found a good solution until now. I'm really excited to have this be a part of my planner and journaling lineup. I think that it'll supplement my annual planners perfectly, and I hope that this helps you in case you were in the same boat as me and was needing something like this. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope that you found it helpful, and let me know if you have something like this already. What other information do you like to include in yours? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.